Well, thank you so much, Hunter and James, for joining me today on Meet the Maker. I'm so excited to have you guys on and tell us more about the Golden Rule, which I happened across, a few weeks ago and tasted it, and it was delicious. So I'm so excited to have you guys on to talk about it. But I'll turn it over to you to officially introduce yourselves, and we'll talk a little bit more.
Great. I'll kick it off. I'm James. I'm a co-founder at Golden Rule Spirits. Started probably officially, I don't know, about 3 years ago, but officially launched in November of 2019. And yeah, I'll let Hunter introduce himself.
So Hunter Sproul, also co-founder at Golden Rule Spirits. And James and I are actually cousins. I figured we'd get there eventually, but we grew up together, went to school together, and both found ourselves out here in the Bay Area. And it's been a real fun ride so far. A lot of work, but it's been really fun to get our first product out onto the market.
Yeah, it's a great product. It's like everything you think of a fresh margarita to be, but in can form, which was such a refreshing surprise when I opened it up. I was like, you know what I'm talking about. You expect it to be kind of artificial and just like leave a funky taste in your mouth. It is spectacular. I mean,
That's one of the things that we definitely are dealing with right now is the education piece that canned cocktails can be a viable option. And I think, we taste every single one that we find in the market. We try everything we love when we find one that we have that positive reaction to, because it helps everyone else out there. And just knowing that there are real, true options is really refreshing. So to your point, thank you for the kind words, number one. And number two, we're hoping to continue to elevate this category and let people know that done properly, you can enjoy. It could be another option. You had your beer in cans, you have now wine and things in to-go cans, and give people another option, because so often spirits are drunk in cocktails. So why not just get that and straight to the point? So yeah, appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, thank you for the feedback. It's been fun to see those reactions from people as we've gotten out and about around the market and visited various accounts. And before current situation, tastings were really fun to be able to kind of see people's initial reactions when they first try it and are just surprised what came out of the can.
Yeah. So where did the concept for Golden Rule kind of come from? And then also, why a margarita? Why not a different cocktail to start with?
For sure. So the name actually came about. I was back east, so obviously we're in the Bay now, but we're both from back east. We're both from Connecticut. And I was back visiting my folks, and actually in my dad's house above his kitchen sink, it just has the Golden Rule there. And at this time I was working in the spirits industry and kind of uninspired with where we were going, products we were coming out with, and just an internal thought that I kind of chuckled with it. The Golden Rule, you do unto others as you would have others do unto you. I was like, what if we made a drink that others would want, or we would want to share with others and they would want to share with us? And it was kind of silly. It really meant nothing, but it played into it. And we were like, that initially kicked off the naming. It was like the Golden Rule. We should share what we want others to share with us.
Yeah, I think that's a great concept.
And so we kind of kicked it off with that as the name. And then as far as the margarita, it actually leads back to him as well. I grew up in the restaurant industry. Obviously, it's Hunter's uncle, my dad. And he owned and operated a pretty popular Mexican restaurant back in Connecticut that was early on in the tequila scene, early night for the States, bringing authentic quality product to the States. And the margarita that they made was, for a little Mexican restaurant, it was very popular and did very well for them. And so it was kind of another thing that we were thinking, if we could only get this to go, we could offer it to everyone, like this would be it. And so the margarita was kind of a natural choice for what we were going to start with, I would say.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, James, you have a distilling spirits background. Hunter, what about you?
My background's a little different. I mean, came out to, after we went to school together, I mean, moved out to San Francisco, I was actually more on sales side of things. So software sales for a while here in San Francisco. But I was looking for a change. And I actually, prior to getting started with this, I kind of quit my job and went and traveled around Asia for a few months, reset a little bit. And when I got back, I mean, looking to, kind of start on a new career path. That's when James and I started talking a little bit more, and he was super passionate about, this concept that he had kind of brewing, and just in the RTD segment of the industry, and got me pretty excited about it. And, the concept of being able to just create, a product from scratch, from start to finish, get it out to the market, and again, give it to someone and be able to really see, consumers react with it. It was a very cool concept to me, and something that I got very excited about after, just being in kind of a software sales realm. So
yeah, very different industry.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so not necessarily the distilling background or background in the industry, but just the concept as a whole, I mean, was something I was ready to dive headfirst into. So we, before I knew it, we were drawn up, starting to read up a business plan and get the pieces moving. So.
And so now, have you been bit by the food and beverage bug?
I'd say so. I'd say so. It's been super fun so far, and we have some pretty cool plans for the future as well. Again, it's hard to believe how much time has gone by since we first started talking about this, but it's been really fun so far, and we've got some high hopes.
Nice. And James, have you always been in the beverage industry?
I have been for most. I worked a little bit in hospitality outside of in just hotel action beforehand, but I would say for the last, I don't know, yeah, for a while, for a bit here, all in the Bay Area, yes. So
Okay.
From distilling to education to sales to, so a lot of different aspects within it. And then this, obviously, as I was noting, was kind of in the last education sales role that I was taking on. This was kind of this side project that originally was like, oh, I wonder if that would work. And then it opened up that whole can of worms of why people hadn't brought something real to market, what that looks like. Why are we in 100 milliliter can? What all these little things that added to what we got into. But yes, so definitely been in beverages for a while.
Nice. And so where, if somebody was interested in buying the product, where can they find it at this moment in time?
Oh, if you are in the Bay Area, I would direct you to our website simply for the fact that we have a where to find us map on there, and it's updated very regularly. We're in about, I want to say 95 to 100 locations around the Bay right now.
That's great.
So we've had some great reception thus far, and I wouldn't want to steer one person one way if they're closer to another one. So for sure, definitely look on the website, and we really do try to keep that as up to date daily as possible. So
yeah,
perfect. And so I noticed, Hunter, you had mentioned that there's some other things in the works, other pieces to this puzzle. So what could we potentially expect to see from you guys next for canned beverage?
Well, we definitely have some recipes we've already kind of created, and just how this has all evolved. I mean, it started with the Margarita, and we definitely, the goal is for now to kind of stay pretty classic. We don't want to be making kind of completely random cocktails that no one would necessarily recognize.
Sure.
So are popular for a reason, and we're really excited to get our next beverage on the market. I guess I can say it here. I mean, it's going to be
up to you guys. I mean, you don't have to by any means, but
I don't know. No, it's not. I don't know why he's being coy about it. It's an old fashioned.
It's an old fashioned.
Ooh, my favorite.
Yeah. So staying in that 100 ml, the same size can, but just like the Margarita, I mean, straight to the point, and exactly what you'd expect if you were to order an old fashioned from a bar or restaurant. Something you can just kind of pour right over ice and it's ready to go. So. We like it a lot. I think we're excited about that one, and then more to come after that.
Great. That's exciting. And when is that one expected to be on the shelves?
We're hoping by sometime. I mean, I would say in the next month and a half is kind of safe.
Yeah.
You know, if we could do it, we're in the midst of changing over some production pieces and things like that, and it's an ongoing, you know, battle to constantly stay up to date in some of this stuff. But everything is approved on that end, and it's really just yeah, so I'd say a month and a half. It's really just this last little push to get like some of the last the cans here and things like that. So
Right.
month and a half. Look for the old fashioned.
Well, I will definitely do that. I'm excited to see it. So I mean, given obviously the current climate, that's probably changed some things for you guys, but I would maybe safely assume that it's also been a positive. I mean, more people are consuming at home, more people are being more adventurous and looking for things that are, you know, easy to grab and, you know, take with them. That is, feels a little bit more, you know, like safe and secure. And so I feel like, how has this kind of all fared for you guys?
For sure. I think you kind of nailed it on the head there with it's double-edged in that as a new brand, we really want to be out in the market supporting our product, which is difficult right now because, you know, we can't do in-store tastings. We can't really go out and do that side of it. But to that extent, just in the climate right now, people are, you know, being a little more adventurous and trying new things. The grab and go is great. People are trying to get outside more, and I think, you know, you see them escaping the city and doing things. So whether they're grabbing one of our cocktails and taking it with them wherever that adventure leads them, that's kind of what we always intended. And so you know, it sometimes is better to be lucky than good in timing, and I think our timing could be very lucky, and hopefully we can execute and be good about that too. So, yeah, it definitely has had its positives and negatives, but the positives thus far have outweighed, and we hope to, you know, make our way into more people's carry-ons and wherever they want to take us.
Perfect. And so, I mean, given, I'm sure you guys have been obviously plenty busy during all of this, but what have some of your own kind of like go-to cocktails been, you know, just for your own enjoyment during these
Obviously,
times?
the Margarita. No. I have really been into daiquiris, like proper daiquiris.
Okay.
Um, Tea punch kind of things too, where
Yeah.
you get some agricole style rum and just really simple but balanced well. It is a great refreshing cocktail. I would maybe love to see one of those in a can in the future to do a very proper daiquiri. So something that I really
Hint,
enjoy.
hint,
Yeah.
hint.
That's it. I go to, you know, turn to Negroni is always a one that I love to enjoy at home. It's a tough one. I mean, it changes constantly, especially in these, you know, this environment. I find myself, you know, wanting to branch out and try some more, but so make some mezcal cocktails as well. But it constantly shifts for me.
Yeah, actually, you brought up Mezcal, and it reminded me as I was reading through some of your guys's answers to the questions I sent you. If you could have like your passion project kind of come to life, you mentioned going down into Mexico and learning, like deeply learning about Mezcal and its cultural roots. And so tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that was a tough one. I feel like I could go a lot of different directions with that question, but I mean, for me, especially not having much of a background in the just in distilled spirits and things like that. I mean, mezcal has become more and more popular. I've learned a lot just from James through that and his passion for that in particular. And so it was a concept. I mean, when we, you know, first got into the margarita, and we're working through that and sourcing. I mean, we went down to Mexico to, you know, find our own tequila for specifically for that drink. And mezcal has definitely been on our radar as well. And so I just think that would be a really fun project to go down there and really immerse myself and understand more. Really need to just bring my knowledge base up quite a bit compared to what James has on that side. But I mean, it's a really, really interesting spirit in terms of just, you know, all the variations you can find, is what I'm learning, and the process behind it is amazing. So I just think going back to that question, if the kind of like time, resources were unlimited, I mean, definitely spend the time and go down there.
Yeah. James, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Mezcal is super, super fun to dive into, and it's all its cultural aspects that it has for the, people in Mexico, and how they've produced it for years. It's really fun to dive into. I also just kind of think if time and, another project that I would love to dip into is I really, ciders are huge right now, and getting away even from distilled stuff. I love really classic ciders, and finding those, whether they're Spanish, French, from the UK, and then some of the old world US ones are really good, and trying to really explore some of that stuff is kind of fun. And so more on the fermentation side, that would be really great. Or another Mexican one would be tepache. I've messed around with making some tepache, and that would really, I think that one would be, I think someone needs to introduce a good tepache into the market.
I actually just tasted a kombucha tepache from a company up here in Healdsburg. They're just recently launched. It was a flavor I'm not familiar with, and it was really, really interesting and really tasty.
Yeah, they're like weirdly refreshing, but like kind of funky, and like, yeah, it's a fun experiment. So I would love to, if I had all the time and money, I would definitely dive into something like that. So that's cool. What's the brand called?
It's called Solfix.
Okay.
So cool. Sulfixx.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, definitely. They've got some really unique kombucha flavors that I haven't really seen on the market, and I also feel like they're really flavor forward, and so it's, a nice. You don't get like that harsh vinegar, and the aftertaste isn't even really that vinegary either. So it's a really delicious product.
I'll check it out. Thanks for that recommendation.
Yeah. So just last question, and both of you guys can answer this. What advice would you give somebody who is thinking about hopping into this crazy industry?
I guess I would say be prepared to, regulation-wise, especially on the hard spirit side.
Mm-hmm.
It is just a roller coaster of regulations. So you get one win, you get set back. And I mean, as we said, we launched this, I don't know, I'm putting 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, on when it first started, and the amount of time that we spent trying to get formulas and labels and things approved that you think that you're like, oh, you've heard it all before, and this time it'll go smoother. Seems to never go smoother. So definitely be prepared with time. And then, I would say that's a big one to think of. And then obviously classic takes longer and costs more. It costs more than you think. So just, those are like very basic things, but they definitely hold true, for us at least. And, but it's fun, and you get to do a lot of different things. And I think that's one of the aspects of the beverage industry, where you get to be on the production side, but you've got to think about marketing and sales and all these different aspects that come into it. And you're so close to your consumer too. So it's a really fun industry to be in, but just two good things to be aware of.
Yeah.
And I would say just a little bit to add on to that. I mean, obviously agree with all of it. I think we've been fortunate, and still early days for us, but I mean, with James, with his background and kind of bringing quite a bit of industry knowledge to the table, I'm pretty much a blank slate with it. I mean, I bring my own experience to it, but I think that's worked well for us. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily tell someone to just dive in with no understanding, but to come in with a fresh perspective, and maybe not like, assuming that there's just blueprints and templates you have to follow with, it's a pretty old school industry is what I've learned. And, there's just, there's some big players that control quite a bit of it. And so, it's been interesting though to see that, feels like there's definitely room for innovative, new brands and new ideas, just like with anything. But, I would say don't get discouraged, and it's come in with kind of maybe a bit of a fresh perspective.
Yeah. I think those are all really great points. And it's also something that seemingly has been echoed, you know, when I've asked this question to a few other folks, that it always takes a bit more time and it always takes a bit more money.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times it crossed my mind when I heard that every time prior to, I was like, no, this time I think we got it. I think we're going to somehow beat that time and money thing.
We're going to slide through this regulation process.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like last time.
It's going to go without a hitch.
Yeah, no big deal for us.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, both of you. It was really great to meet you guys and chat and learn more about Golden Rule. And yeah, again, it is delicious, and I'm really excited to continue to see your product on the shelf and taste all of the new things that come to be with Golden Rule. So thank you so much.
We'll be sure to keep you in the loop.
Awesome. All right. Well, have a great rest of your day. Stay well.
Thanks. You too.
Thank you so much. Bye. Thanks, Lindsay.
Bye.